So, namaskar everybody. Professor Sahu, the chairperson, thank you so much for inviting me here and giving me an opportunity to share some of my thoughts with friends. Or shall I? Okay. Although Professor Sahu has been very generous to me, I know that I should not speak for more than 20 minutes on a topic which really requires at least about 60 minutes to present in brief. So in 20 minutes I'll try and finish whatever I can say about war and the politics of it. So I'll make sweeping statements without sort of justifying many of these. Anyway, the approach is simply this. I start with I have two entry points for the discussion. One entry point relates to the responsibility of the war. Who is responsible for the war? So that is one entry point. The other entry point is who was willing, who was unwilling, how the unwilling were persuaded to fight. So I'll approach it from two different points of view. So the first one from Swargarohan Parva, the question of responsibility. And then I straight away start with Udyoga Parva to talk about who was unwilling to fight and why. And so, and when we discuss these two, then some understanding of the kind of politics that was being played will hopefully emerge. So this is what I am trying to do. This is what I am trying to do. About who was responsible for the war. Let's start with Yudhishthira. This was Swargarohana Parva. The Pandavas and Draupadi, they were on Himalayan mountains. It was snowy, the wind was ice cold, and Draupadi fell. And when Draupadi fell, Bhima told Yudhishthira that Draupadi has fallen. Let us wait for a while, let her recover, then we go ahead. Yudhishthira said no, let us not wait for her. She was a sinner. And Yudhishthira said that she kept her hair untied until she consumed 99 of my brothers. So when she tied her hair, only Duryodhana was left. And all the 99 Kauravas were killed. Kaurava brothers were killed. So he said that this woman was primarily responsible for the war. It is because of her that the war took place, and 99 of brothers were killed before she died. So she is squarely responsible. Bhima was very upset. He was wondering what had happened to Yudhishthira and how he pronounced a judgment like that. But in Sarala Mahabharata, in Swargarohana Parva, Yudhishthira was not just the embodiment of Dharma on earth. His voice was the voice of Dharma himself. So he was the ultimate arbitrator, and he was the one, whatever he said was the voice of Dharma. That's the ultimate evaluation. So that's what he said about her. Then when Sahadev fell, the same thing. He asked, Bhima said, now Sahadev was your mantri, he was your advisor, such a wise man who knew the past and the future, bhuta bhavishya jnata. So that was Sahadev. So stay for a while. He said, no, this person was a very great sinner. How? See, Sahadev knew what was to happen. He had the knowledge. And yet this fellow would keep quiet. Mauna hi vastiva. He would keep mauna. Unless asked, he won't say. Had he told us or given us an inkling as to what was going to happen, nothing of this would have happened. So he is a sinner. So these two persons were, Yudhishthira sort of said, made observations about others as well, but these two opinions or these two sort of judgments are important because they directly relate to the question of responsibility for the war. So that is one. As regards Bhima, he said something, but that was only remotely connected. Bhima unlike Arjuna and others, Draupadi, Sahadeva, Nakula and Arjuna, unlike others, Bhima fell. He couldn't walk properly, but he was still trying to follow him. And when Yudhishthira thought that this person is a wicked person, Bhima is wicked, he has a kind of, he always wants to fight, he is a violent person, such a person should not go to heaven without sort of passing through death. So he didn't want. So he invoked goddess Hingula to destroy Bhima. Bhima did not know. Bhima said, "No, brother, take me, don't leave me." He was in fact the man who had killed so many, and the man who was so courageous suddenly was afraid of death, and the fear for death was there distinctly in Bhima. So Bhima said that, "Please take me along, brother." He got him killed. So so that is kind of responsibility that he fixed on war, responsibility of war on individuals. That those in whose capacity it was to stop the war and stop this carnage and bloodshed, they did not act. In fact, Draupadi was instrumental in prompting her husbands and provoking them to fight. So this is one side. And come to Mausali Parva, maybe Nari Parva, where Gandhari cursed Krishna. Gandhari cursed Krishna, saying that it was in his powers to stop the war. He said that you could have stopped the war had you wanted. The Kauravas and the Pandavas would have listened to you, but you did not do that. So you are responsible for the war. And she cursed. She cursed him that his kin would also die in the same manner. Brothers would fight with brothers and they will be destroyed. So that is of no interest to us. What is of interest is that she held Krishna responsible for the war. Now Krishna's answer was tame. Krishna accepted the curse, not tame, but he gave his answer. Krishna said that, look, you are blaming me, but why didn't you train your children well? Why didn't you educate them properly? You should have given them the right kind of values. So he said that it is you who was responsible, but you don't want to accept your responsibility, and you simply want to find fault with me. The kind of thing that we really do when we blame fate. We do not do things as we don't put in an effort and blame fate. So this analogy can be extended here. What was Krishna? Krishna was fate, destiny. So when something terrible happens to us, and we don't want to sort of see whether we were responsible to an extent or completely for that, we blame fate. Because of fate, this happened. So Krishna, so that analogy can be read here. So in any case, so that is what she said to Krishna. And Krishna, in a slightly different situation, when she asked why this happened, Krishna said that he was humiliated in the Kaurava court. And he said because he was humiliated in the Kaurava court, when he came as Yudhishthira as a emissary to ask for a village, whatever, that story we know. So when he came, so he was humiliated. So he decided to use the Pandavas to destroy the Kauravas. That was his way of avenging his insult. This is what he said. But what is interesting about Sala Mahabharata is, see, Krishna is an immensely complex character. So, in fact, all our critics, including Surendra Mohanty, all our Odia critics, all our critics who have written about Krishna, barring one exception, but even there the thing was not properly developed, that idea was not properly developed. Everyone said that Krishna was Kuchakri. He was evil-minded, he was Kuchakri. So he used, not evil-minded, he was a Kuchakri. He used all kinds of, manipulations and all that to get his purpose served. In fact, Surendra Mohanty is very critical of him. He says he cut off Belal, he virtually cut off, he was responsible for Belal Sen's death. He cut off his head because Belal Sen wanted to finish the war quickly. And he wanted to witness it, he wanted the war to take place for 18 days. So he says that, he wanted to see the fun, Kautuka. He wanted to see the war going on, and since he was going to finish it fast, then Krishna, he was a person of that nature. who simply wanted to have fun, and for his fun he was not hesitant to do whatever he could do. Namely, in this case, he cut off his head. And there are many, many instances because of which our critics have said that Krishna was a kuchakri, and they have given adequate justification for what they have said. So that is that this issue I won't have time to take up. I have a different take on this, but I don't have time to discuss here. But let's see what we can do, because I am talking to war here. So anyway, that is one. Now, actually, a discussion on war and its politics should start from the word "go," from Adiparva itself. From there we should start the discussion concerning the war and responsibility and also politics. We should start from there, but I am not doing it. I am just skipping, to keep to time. I am just skipping all that. Straight away we come to Udyoga Parva. I start from there. So the Pandavas have returned from the forest after 12 years of exile and 1 year of living incognito. So they have returned, and then Yudhishthira tells Krishna that go, and there have been some people came to the Pandavas and had discussion, so they had some kind of talk of peace and all that. So finally, let us skip all that. So we come to Udyoga Parva, where Yudhishthira asked Krishna to go to the Kaurava court and ask for one village. He said, give us one village and we will not fight, and brothers should not fight brothers. So that was the intention. So he wanted to avoid that kind of a fratricidal war, and he said that give us one village, we will be happy. What Krishna did was he went to Bhima. So he went to Bhima, and Bhima said that look, one village is very insufficient. His ground was that this Yudhishthira is a virtuous fellow. So what he will do is, half the money that he would get from that village, he would distribute among the poor and the Brahmins and all that. With the rest half, we will hardly have anything. So I am a person who eternally feels hungry. So for my food, what he would give me would be very inadequate. So please ask Duryodhana for one more village for me. And he said Duryodhana would oblige. Look at this. He said Duryodhana would oblige because of because of the past. He referred to certain relationship, and he said that he would remember that and he will oblige. You just ask for one more village. And look who said this. The one who had taken oaths that he would drink Dushasana's blood and he would sort of destroy Duryodhana by hitting him on the thigh. This person said, ask for one more village. We don't want to fight. And if he doesn't give a village to me, and he also say he will remember the thing that I had done for him. So he would give. So this is how it is. So even he was not in a mood to fight. Now, so Krishna found that Krishna was surely disappointed. So he reminded in a kind of provocative language, he reminded Bhima of what all had happened to Draupadi and how he was given poisonous food and all that kind of thing. He reminded him about all that, and then Bhima got excited. He said, no, I will fight. And Krishna's comment was, this wicked fellow, this Dust, this wicked fellow has now been excited, so surely he is not going to work for peace. Then he goes to Arjuna. Same thing, I want one village. He goes to Nakula, and that's interesting. Nakula says that you see, when in the time of distress, all of us are close. But when prosperity comes, after all, Arjuna, Bhima and Yudhishthira are our stepbrothers. They are the sons of Kunti and we are the sons of Madri. So who can predict what will happen in the times of prosperity? Suffering brings people together. Prosperity divides. So what would happen? So ask him for 2 more villages. One for me, one for my brother. And then he goes to Sahadev. What Sahadev says, I am not going to say now. When he asked Sahadev, what do you want? What he said, I will not say now, but we will come to that. Okay. Now, so that is it. Then he went to Draupadi. And Draupadi insisted that the war should take place. I don't have to elaborate. She simply insisted that the war should take place. Now, but Draupadi, I would only say that you see, unlike in Vyasa Mahabharata, Draupadi's story is very different. Quickly, Draupadi never insulted any Kaurava brother or anybody from the Kuru, any senior Kuru at any point of time. She never said to Duryodhana that, look, the Andhaka, the famous thing, the blind man's son is blind and all. Never said a thing like this. Never. It doesn't occur in Salamava. There is no single example that I have found where you could say that Draupadi behaved in a manner that was disgraceful. Nothing. The only occasion, when she got angry with somebody from the family was with Ghatotkacha. When Ghatotkacha did not pay respect to her in public, so she was offended and she cursed him. But it didn't remain in his mind. And Draupadi had never asked Karna during Swayamvara, that archery test. She had never asked Karna not to, participate. Never. She did not say that, I will not marry a Sutaputra. Nothing of this kind. She had never insulted Karna. Everybody knew in the Pandava family, everybody knew in Mahabharata, Sala Mahabharata, that Karna was the eldest son of Kunti. So Karna did not say anything offensive insulting to Draupadi. Did not say that, Draupadi is a kind of fallen woman during the game of dice. Nothing. So Karna's behavior with respect to Draupadi was exemplary. Draupadi's behavior with respect to everybody was exemplary. The change came after that Vastraharan episode. There she felt really terrible, and she changed. And the other aspect of Draupadi's personality emerged from that point onwards. Then she became different. Till then she was a very humble, usual kind of Odia, daughter-in-law. There was nothing. You can't find anything that was a flaw in Draupadi till then. It is only here that she changed. Okay. So without going into any further details, in one of my articles that I have just written, I have said, what did Draupadi want? Draupadi simply wanted her dignity had been compromised. She wanted a face, public face. She wanted dignity. She wasn't bothered about being the empress or anything. Those things were not her aspirations. She only wanted that she had been humiliated in the public. She wanted her face. Kind of, that must be restored. And she figured out that the only way that could be restored was through the destruction of the Kauravas. So that was how she arrived at, and that is why she was so much against them. And the moment the Kauravas were destroyed, and she became the empress, Sala Mahabharata doesn't get any projection in Sala Mahabharata after that. She nothing about Sala, nothing about her. Draupadi is a forgotten person. I mean, of course, she came into prominence when her children were killed and all that. But after that episode, she just recedes into the background. Sala has Sala has nothing to do with that character. So she goes, and she comes alive when the judgment is pronounced on her. That's because it is because of her that the war took place. Yudhishthira's judgment. So in a way, she's a very tragic character, like Sakuni. Sakuni, I really, in Sala Mahabharata, Sakuni is a person with whom, we have enormous sympathies. Imagine how many people are condemned to take, to do the kind of things he had to do. His father had said that you will remain alive and you will take revenge. That was, so you see, so I describe Sakuni's situation like this. He was imprisoned, but when he came out of the prison, he was imprisoned again. He was imprisoned by his father's promise, and virtually he had to do what he had to do. And imagine, what could he do? One person, the Kaurava, the might of the Kauravas, he had to take revenge. What would he do? He did what he did: manipulation, treachery, and all those things he did. What can a completely disempowered person do against the power? This is what one would do. So that's what he did. But anyway, forget about Sakuni now. So so that was Draupadi. And Kunti, of course, she wanted war. She wanted war. Why did Kunti want war? Kunti and Gandhari, I skipped all that. Kunti and Gandhari did not have a very good relationship, unlike in Vyasa Mahabharata. But neither Kunti nor Gandhari encouraged their children to fight among themselves. The standard term that is used by Kunti for Bhima is Dusta. And that was the term which Yudhishthira also used for Bhima. Dusta by everybody. By the husband of both the mother and the elder brother. In any case, so but that point of time, after Draupadi's Vastraharana thing, she was explicitly against, against the Kauravas. And at one point, she spoke in such harsh language to Krishna for the fact that Duryodhana had not been killed till the 17th day of the war. She used such harsh language that Arjuna had taken an oath that if anybody insults Krishna, he would kill that person. Even Bhima got upset. He said, "You use language like this, I will crush your head." Krishna stopped. So that is the kind of thing. Okay. So in any case, so Kunti wanted war at that point of time because she became explicitly against the Kauravas. Otherwise, till then, again the children, neither Kunti nor Gandhari encouraged the children to to carry their tensions forward. So in all this, there are more to say, but let me stop here and then come back to Krishna. What was Krishna doing? I read an interpretation long ago that, please remind me if, I think I'll take 5 minutes to quickly finish. Think of Krishna. Now, what was he doing? In one interpretation, there is an interpretation who says that he actually wanted the Yadavas to be the most powerful in Aryavarta. So he had to disempower the Kauravas and the Pandavas. And that was his politics. But you see, we can say whatever we like. But but if you are looking at Mahabharata, this Mahabharata is literary text, you must find literary evidence. Is there any literary evidence to support this point of view? There is nothing. So, if you really think of why Krishna was doing what he was doing, why he instigated Bhima and all that, why he wanted war, there is no easy explanation. What he really wanted. Had he wanted his army to be powerful, as I said, there is no textual evidence. In fact, textual evidence is not contrary. He had sent the core of Yadav army, Narayani Sena, to fight for Kauravas and get destroyed, for which Balaram later blamed him. So then what was Krishna doing? Now I will quickly finish by referring to 2 or 3 things. One, Balaram told him, virtually, he said that, look, I know, if war is in your mind, so war will take place. Whatever you want will happen. Why should I tell you something? All that I tell you is, if you want how the war will take place, what you have to ask Duryodhana for, so that he can never say no. Duryodhana for, so that he can never say no. Then this is what it is. Ask for this, and this is like asking for the impossible. So that is what he said. He said, look, I don't want to give any comments because I know what is there in your mind. That is what is going to happen. And in a secret meeting later, between Sahadev and this Sakuni and Krishna, shortly before the war, they met. That was midnight. And Krishna asked Sakuni, what should happen? Should there be a war? Everything was ready. The armies were ready. Everything was ready. Should there be a war? And Sakuni said, look, whether there should be a war or not, you tell me. That, we are your servitors. Whatever you want, you will do. You tell me that tomorrow the war will not take place and Pandavas and Kauravas will become friends. I will ensure it by the morning. They will all become friends. There will be no war. But before you order me what I have to do, whatever you say I will do, because you are our servitors. So, but before you order me what I have to do, remember your avataric purpose. Why have you come here? You are Narayana. Why have you descended to the earth, to the mortal world? You have an avataric purpose. Keep that in mind and let me know what I have to do. In conclusion, I only have to say that, this narration is interesting, Sarala's narration. See, at the cosmic level, there is a cosmic level and there is a Vyavaharic level. So, in the first, most of the time I have spent on the Vyavaharic level. Who said what was his intention? I only said that, Krishna's pronouncements about what he was doing, his explanation was not satisfactory, because if he really was offended by the Kauravas and that's why he wanted war, Bhima, he had instigated Bhima long before he went even to the Kauravas. So he was telling lies. Okay, why was he doing that? So I was only saying that so we have to because there was a kind of a clash between what Krishna was saying and what he had actually done. That needs an explanation. So in Krishna's case, the explanation comes like this. He actually, and why did Sarala talk about the cosmic purpose? He talked about cosmic purpose because he wanted to explain what Krishna's intention was and why it was what it was. And what I find absolutely interesting in Sarala Mahabharata, the narrative, is that these, the narrative sort of goes on at these two different levels at the same time. So there is the Vyavaharic level and there is the cosmic level. And some persons had the insight, the divine insight, to be able to see what was happening. To be able to connect both. Sahadev was one. He knew what was the cosmic purpose and he knew what they were doing. So see, this is a very fascinating narrative and very fascinating narrative style. I will only conclude by saying one. Give me just 2 minutes. Look at this Sahadev. When the second game of dice took place, Yudhishthira had gone there on his own to play the game of dice. He was not invited. It was Yudhishthira's proposal that whoever loses will go for 12 years exile. It was his proposal, not the proposal of Duryodhana. Sakuni only added the 13th year, but otherwise he had nothing to say. Who would play the dice? Sahadev. He rolled the dice on behalf of Duryodhana. So that was it. And Sahadev knew what was happening. He was the one, as I told you, the narration had two different levels, cosmic and Vyavaharic, only. Okay. So Sahadev knew that the Pandavas should lose. Yudhishthira had even said that, I don't want to play with these sticks because they are magic. So so he played. So he played with a different set of sticks. How they came and all that, let me skip. In any case, so it was Sahadev who played, and Sahadev saw to it that the Pandavas lost, that the Pandavas went for Vanvas. He never said it to anybody. The narrator does not say this to anybody later. But why did Sahadev do all that? Because Sahadev knew that the only way Kichaka would be killed, that is the Deva's intention. Kichaka had to be killed. Balaram could fight Kichaka and kill him, but Balaram would not do it. He was an avatar and he could not be forced to do anything like that. The other person is Jarasandha, he was dead. Third is Bhima. So it was the divine purpose that Bhima this would happen. So the Vanavas facilitated this. That is what Sahadev knew. So here is a person who there have been two examples at least when he lived at one level but could have an insight into what was happening at the other level. So this connectivity, so it's a very difficult kind of text in which this raises interesting questions of what is dharma. What is dharma? Those who do not have access to the cosmic events or whatever the cosmic purpose, they have a different notion of dharma. And those who have that, what is their notion of dharma? Was Sahadev right in whatever happened? If that Vanavas had not taken place, would there have been a war? We don't know. Okay. So the thing is, so for them who knew both, the question of dharma becomes extremely complicated, and that is why I like Sarala Mahabharata. It's an immensely fascinating narrative. Thank you very much. If I have overshot my time, please forgive me.
Ladies and gentlemen, first I would like to thank Professor Udainath Sahu, Professor Netaji for the invitation. All the way, I'm coming from Penang, Malaysia, to JNU to present about Ramayana. So I would also like to thank Professor Pattanaik for his presentation on Sarala Mahabharata. Very insightful. Okay, now from Mahabharata, from Dwapara Yoga, we are now moving into Ramayana in Treta Yuga. So the title of my presentation is on Valmiki Ramayana and its relevance for transforming leaders and leadership. So my name is Balkrishan Muniappa. I am from Wawasan Open University in Malaysia. Okay, let me give you a brief intro since the time is very limited. Valmiki Ramayana is the first kavya, or what we call, and Valmiki is the first poet. So he says that here, Kujantam Rama Rameti Maduram Maduraksharam Aruhya Kavita Sakam Vande Valmiki Kokilam. And this Valmiki Ramayana has been here for many, many years since Treta Yuga. And there is a statement that mentioned by Brahma himself that says that as long as the mountains, even rivers flourish on the surface of earth, So long the legend of Ramayana will flourish in this earth. Now, besides Valmiki, there are many versions of Ramayana. In Malaysia, we also have a version of Ramayana that is called Hikayat Sri Rama, which is written in a classical Malay language. And of course, in India, you have Ramayana in all the regional languages. And Southeast Asia also very rich Ramayana tradition in all the languages as well. Now, Ramayana is essence of Vedas, as is mentioned here. A Veda itself was revealed by Valmiki Muni in form of Ramayana when Sri Rama, the goal of Vedas, came in form of King Dasaratha. Okay, now this presentation I'm going to take you into a different dimension of Ramayana related to management and leadership, because scholars have explored various dimensions of Ramayana, looking at it from philosophical context, spirituality, religion, astrology, politics, law, economics, sociology, anthropology, psychology, and so many other areas, including areas such as geography and also ecology. But this presentation I'm going to explore from the transformational leadership dimension demonstrated by Sri Rama that has transformed and continues to transform people worldwide, even today. Now, transformational leadership is a theory. If some of you are familiar with the area of studies about leadership and leadership theories, you might be familiar with this theory that is called transformational leadership theory. I'm not going to go into detail on elaborating the theories on transformational leadership. Now, texts like Ramayana, from time to time, we need to examine to find its relevance in the modern context. Like Swami Chinmayananda, for example, he mentioned that from time to time, ancient philosophy needs intelligent reinterpretation to apply effectively in the modern context. So, Valmiki Ramayana, you should not only look at it from the religious or spiritual context, but you can also look at it in the developing of people and developing of leaders, even in the areas of human resource development. Okay, I'm not going to go into the details about Valmiki Ramayana, the what you call the 7 books or 7 kandas, and also some history related to Valmiki Ramayana. I'm going into the leadership. Leadership is one of the most researched subject in the area of management, and it has been discussed throughout the world. Leadership in a different context. Maybe you are looking, even if it is not within the context of organization, you all talk about leadership in the political context as well. Now, it is also a multidisciplinary field, but leadership, when it comes to a practice, you need to look at it from the culture specific. In India, literatures like Ramayana and Mahabharata is relevant, and the leadership that is rooted within the context of this culture will be more effective when you want to explore it from various studies. Now, of course, there are also other schools of thought looking into Islamic, Chinese context. They have Confucianism like Lao Tzu, Sun Tzu, Art of War, and many others. Now, Valmiki Ramayana provides an inside-out approach to leadership rather than the outside-in when you explore many of the leadership books written in the West. Now Valmiki Ramayana explores leadership from 4 different aspects, from the body, head, heart, and also spirit. You have the PQ, IQ, EQ, and also SQ here. Now, when you are looking into the SQ context, you might be familiar with this. This is taken from an Upanishad called Katha Upanishad, where it talks about the body of us is like a chariot with the 5 horses, and the 5 horses represents our 5 senses. Okay, senses of seeing, senses of hearing, senses of touching, all the senses. The mind is the rein, the intelligence, the buddhi is the driver of the chariot, and the self is a passenger. Now, moving further, transformational leadership and motivates followers to attain higher morals, ideals, and also moral values. And various studies says that transformational leaders are able to define and articulate vision and mission for the organization, and their leadership style can transform their followers towards a higher performance. Now, apart from transformational, there is also another type of leadership that we call transactional. Okay, the comparison is here. Okay, the slides will be here. Anybody want to take the slides, you can copy it later. So I don't want to go through in detail here. Now, looking into transformational leadership qualities that you can see from Ramayana, you don't have to go far in Valmiki Ramayana. In fact, if you look into first book, Balakanda, first chapter, chapter 1 to chapter, not chapter 1, chapter 2 to chapter 4, there are description about qualities of a leader. Okay, now qualities of the leaders are described here, all these qualities here. Now I will read for you from the original sloka. It says, Kon vashmin sampratam loke gunavan kascha viryavan dharmaknyascha kritaknyascha satyavakya radaha charitrena chakko yuktaha sharvabhuteshu kohitaha Vidvan kakka samartasya kacha eka priyadarshanaha atmavanko jita krodo dutimanko anusuyaka kasya bibhyati devasya jata roshasya samyuge. So these are the 16 qualities that are need to be developed to develop the leadership. It can be applicable in any context, organizational context, even in a political context as well. Now, transformational leadership, in order to develop, it is not something that can be done overnight. As it states here, the drops of rains make a hole in a stone not by violence but by often falling. So it takes time and time when you go through practice and practice and practice. Okay, now according to a transformational leadership book by Tichy and Dewana, they say there are 7 characteristics of transformational leaders. And I am going to explore these 7 characteristics of transformational leaders from the context of Ramayana. First, transformational leaders are visionaries. Vision. They create vision for the organization. A leader needs to have a vision. Vision will tell where the organization is now, or where the country is now, or where it is going to be in next 5 years or even 10 years. So Sri Rama created future vision for Ayodhya, and the vision was clearly communicated to the people of Ayodhya before he left to the forest. Now, second is that transformational leaders are change agent. Okay, you find the changing of kingship of Kishkinda to Vali, from Vali to Sugriva, and then kingship of Lanka to Vibhishana is there. Third is that transformational leaders are courageous people. They take risks. Rama was firm and brave to take risks to protect the word of his father. You can find the scenario in Ayodhya Kanda when many people came to persuade Rama to return to the kingdom. Sages, many sages, Jabali and other sages all came to persuade Rama, why not you return to the kingdom, back to the Ayodhya? But he refused, and he stuck. He was adamant, and he was firm and brave to take the risk to protect the words of his father. And then you find here, transformational leaders believe in people. Sri Rama had a complete trust in Sugriva and Hanuman to rescue Sita. There are further details can be given here, but I'll stop up to here on Rama's trust in Sugriva and Hanuman. And then the next one is that transformational leaders are value driven. They never deviated or deviates from the words they have given or has given. Okay. And then transformational leaders are lifelong learners. Also, you can see the experience of the examples from Rama. Transformational leaders have the ability to deal with complexity and ambiguity and uncertainty. Rama, in this case, had to make a painful decision to banish Sita from Ayodhya when it comes to that chapter in Uttarakanda of Ramayana. And if you look from the management context, there is a principle of management by Henry Fayol in the School of Administrative Management, where he says that the subordination of individual interests of a leader to the interests of people in general, which was applied by Rama long ago. And then transformational leaders also create a great follower. For example, after Hanuman's exploit in Lanka, when he came back and he informed Rama that he has seen Sita, Rama said, "You had done a great service." So here he describes 3 different types of follower, and the best follower is that who will carry out the work allocated to him by the leader and even goes further and creatively anticipating the leader's wishes and fulfills them. Okay? And transformational leadership also talks about different styles a leader should take. And if you are looking from the Ramayana context, you can look at Sama, Dana, Beda, Danda. Sama should always be the first method. Cannot, then you move into the next one, Dana, Beda, then Danda. Like in this case of Sri Rama with Samudra Rajan, where he fasted for 3 days waiting for Samudra Raja to appear. He didn't appear. Finally, he has to take the last resort. Okay, these are dimension of transformational leadership, but I am not going to go to the theoretical part. Going into straight away into the dimension. First is idealized influence. Second is intellectual stimulation. Third is inspirational motivation. Fourth is individualized consideration. Now, how these explained in the context of Ramayana. First one, looking into the idealized influence, Hanuman devotion. Okay, there is no need for me to elaborate detail. Everyone knows, everyone who have read Ramayana will know about the devotion of Hanuman here. Second, you can also find the Sabari's devotion towards Rama. Sabari waited for many years. Okay, she listened to her guru Matanga Muni to serve Rama. So she waited until she met Rama and then informed Rama how he can recover Sita. And then the other one you can look into is a Jatayu sacrifice. Is also another good examples. Sorry, I'm trying to rush a bit. I'm not be able to explain in detail. And the other one is intellectual stimulation. You will find when the Hanuman, when he was in Asokavana in Simsupatre, he had to make a decision, right decision at the right time. He have to think, what should I say? How should I communicate to Sita? If I communicate this way, what will happen? So he has to crack his head to make a decision. Second incident is that when he had to carry when he was looking for the herb, Sanjeevi herb, he had to carry the whole mountain because he was not able to identify which herb. And then his journey, inspirational motivation is his journey to Lanka. He was greatly motivated after Jambavan narrated his strength. He was not aware of his own strength. He was motivated. He said to the Vanaras, of course I can cross this ocean. With the strength in my arms, I can push this ocean away. I will be able to find Sita. If I do not find Sita, I will approach Lanka itself to Rama. So that's inspirational motivation. The other example of inspirational motivation is that when the Vanaras built the bridge to Lanka, they applied in the management principles that is something that is called Kaizen, Japanese principles where it is called continuous improvement. So when you are looking into Kaizen, continuous improvement, the construction of bridge took 5 days. Every day they increase. It's 100 yojanas. Some of you want to study the geographical perspective of Ramayana. You might be wondering maybe 100 yojanas, if you are looking into the calculation, is that one yojana is said to be equivalent to about 10 miles. So 100 means it's about 10 to 8 miles, okay, 8 to 10 miles. So about 800 yojanas. So then you are looking into the distance of Lanka. So there is a question nowadays, if you are looking from the geographical context, whether the present Lanka that is called Sri Lanka is a Lanka of Ramayana. That's people who are interested to study the geography might be interested to explore this. And then another area is that the individual considerations, looking into the participative management. This is narrated. This can be seen in the example where Vibhishana surrender. Vibhishana surrender in the Vaishnavism. People who follow the Vaishnavism, Sri Vaishnavism, this is one of the important sloka for them in Ramayana. If you ask them what is the most important sloka in Ramayana, they say this is the important sloka in Ramayana. And if you ask them what is the most important sloka in Mahabharata, they say Bhagavad Gita chapter 18:6. And this is the similar to that. It is this Sakrut Heva Prapannaya Tavashmiti Chayachate Abhayam Sharvabhutevyo Dadamyetat Vidamama, where Sri Rama accepted Vibhishana and said it is his principle to provide shelter and protection to all living entity from fear, even if Ravana himself comes for protection. Okay, leaders are responsible for their action. Whatever the leaders does, good or bad, that fruit of that action he gains. And that is also be applicable even to the people that the leader governs or leads. So that is why very important the leadership action. Because when you are looking at an action, there will always be a reaction to an action. One example is that I move a bit later to Mahabharata. In Anushasana Parva, you will find Bhishma narrating to Yudhishthira. When Yudhishthira is in distress, thinking that he was the cause of the destruction of the entire clan, he said that it is all you're not the cause. He will tell the story about what he call Gautami, who lost a son, bitten by a snake. Okay, and a fowler wanted to kill the snake. And then there was a story about who is actually the cause. The cause, if I summarize it, the cause is the individual himself. So you will say that this sloka is very important here. He says that yada denu sahasresu vastu vindati mataram tada purva kritam karma kartaram anukachati, which means that out of thousands of cows, the cow will be able to find its mother. Similarly, whatever action one does in the past, the reaction of the action will find the doer. That is very important for us to know that whatever action, the reaction will come back. So that's where the leaders also have to be very careful about what they do, their actions. And the enemy is within. You will find, if you are looking from a different angle of Ramayana, the Kama, Krodha, Lobha, Mada, Matsarya, these are the real enemy within. If you are looking into inside out of leadership, you have to conquer the enemy within. Not going to go through the details. One example is an anger. Even Hanuman himself became victim of an anger. So he himself said that an angry person does not know which appropriate words are, which are forbidden words to be uttered. For an enraged person, there is neither an improper act nor improper word to be spoken. So Bhagavad Gita, you will find in chapter 2 verse 63, Krodat bhavanti shamohat smriti vibramhat smriti bramshat buddhinasho buddhinashat pranashati. The intelligence will be lost. Now, implementation. How do we develop leaders? Now, this is a very in-depth area if you want to explore. It's not only about, it's very important to create awareness to people. Awareness, character development, and positive human values. This can be done through moral reasoning, moral knowing, and moral action. Not going to go to elaborate this. And finally, coming into the question, how do I or we inculcate the Ramayana values in our families, organizations, and societies to change? Because everybody wants to change the world, but no one thinks of changing himself, according to Leo Tolstoy. So this is a question, for us. Concluding chapters of Yuddhakanda and Uttarakanda in Ramayana describe the results and outcome of Sri Rama's leadership. All citizens were fully righteous, always looking towards Rama as their leader and master. Beyond that, they saw Sri Rama as their life and soul. All talk centered around Sri Rama. The entire kingdom of Ayodhya was transformed into Vaikuntha. Okay, that's it, done. If you have any questions, comment, clarification, later on during Q&A sessions, you can ask me. Thank you. Thank you. So it's actually a summary. I just tried to, I did an express presentation. Sorry for that.